How's everybody doing out there? This is Pete over at D.I.Y. Auto School, aka SWRC Southwest Rod and Custom. And we are actually live in the middle of the day on Thursday afternoon. Many of the body shop girls at home working on our house. I got a little bit bored and I was in the middle of color sanding this vehicle right here, which is our 1977 Honda Accord. It's going back to California very, very soon. If you've been following my videos on this, you know that this thing was a pile of shit when it showed up. Basically, it was unbelievably rusted out, rotted out, and it was just a nightmare of a job. So what we're looking at right here is the 1977 Honda. We've been working on this for close to a year and a half, off and on. And what you're looking at is almost the finished product. I want you guys to go ahead and look in this area right here and look at the sheen on that. You can see that it's got a satin sheen. And what I'm going to do today, what I'm doing today is I am going to show you guys the right way to buff a car, no frills. You don't have to spend $1,000. You don't have to have orbital buffers. You don't have to spend your money on 67 different fucking grits of sandpaper. You don't have to buy special waxes and compounds and all this other bullshit that they're trying to sell you, because all it takes is one bottle of wax and a buffing pad, and if you do it properly and you have the right buffer to do the job, you're going to come out with one awesome show car. Most of the stuff that I show you, I guess it would be old school, but I call it cutting edge technology. And the reason why I'm calling it cutting edge technology. Okay, are we back? Are we back? Hello. Can everybody hear me out there? We were disconnected for a few short seconds there. I was trying to tell everybody. I guess I'll have to tell you again. I was telling you about scam artist corporations out there that are ripping you off. You don't need all this sandpaper. You don't need buffing compounds and 20 different orbital buffers and all this other crap. All you need is one buffing pad, one bottle of compound, one buffer, and 2 types of sandpaper. That's it. It's over. It's a done deal. You got your show car shine. You got your beautiful car. It's going to last for 70,000 years if you do it my friend Pete way. You're going to spend this much money versus that much money, if you get the drift. So let's come over here. I'm going to show you what I use just real quick. This is a no bullshit video. This is the facts. This is the truth. This is how you're going to get that shine on your vehicle and make that thing look like a mirror. And I'm going to buff some of it up on the top there, and I'm going to show you. Okay, look what we got here. Can anybody tell me what that is? Hello? Is there anybody smart enough to go ahead and leave a message for what that is right there? Okay, nobody's leaving a message. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a bucket. Okay, it's a white bucket. It's a bucket that was going to be thrown in the trash. A free bucket. Do you see how much money I've already saved? I've already saved money because I didn't go to Home Depot and buy a bucket. I got a free one. There you go. Inside that bucket, I want everybody to tell me what's in there. There's water. Good old-fashioned water inside the bucket. We don't have spray bottles. We don't have, fancy tips that go on our... No, we're not using soap with the water. That's a no-no. John, Paul, Garrido. Do not use soap in your water. That will make you sand 10 times harder, because you're taking that soap and it's making your sandpaper smooth like glass. And when you're sanding that car, the sandpaper grit is not what it's to do, and it's making you work 10 times harder. So I just saved you some money by not buying that soap. You see how easy it is? You see? So we got a sponge in here. I don't want to touch it. My hand's dry right now. I got an old sponge in there. I got a flexible sand block that I've had probably for 10 years. And you can see I got some nasty looking shoes on. Work shoes. Because we're working today, guys. Okay? We're not going to the restaurant with Mama tonight. Okay, we're not going to go dancing. We're not going to do nothing. We're working. So I'm wearing my work shoes. But anyway, right there, that just saved you about $60. That's about a $60, $75 savings by using the old nasty bucket, some free water out of your faucet, a flexible block, and of course we got our old sponge. We're not using spray bottles on this shit. We're not using no soapy water, nothing fancy. Good old fashioned. You see, this is the way that it's supposed to be done. Look what we got over here. Watch this. Look what I got. I got a piece of 1500 grit. Your standard issue 1500 grit sandpaper. What we're going to do with that is, yeah, soap is bullshit. You got it, Mike. You tell him, buddy. We're going to take our 1500 with our flex block, and we're going to go ahead and hand sand this whole car. I know that's a lot of work, guys. I know that's a lot of work, and your muscles might not be up to it, and you might have to bend over, you know, and crack your ass a few times, and you might have to take a few breaks. But guess what? Guess what the real story is? If you want something in life and you want it right, you gotta work for it. That's all there is to it. So I went around the whole car and I color sanded this. That's what color sanding is. Color sanding is a terminology that when you're done painting the car and you sand it, you are sanding the color. That is a terminology that came from acrylic enamel. Because when you sand it on acrylic enamel, you start seeing the color of the car. And you got to pay attention to that because you don't want to sand too much. When base coat clear coat came out, they still used the terminology color sanding. But instead, the reason it's turning white, okay, the reason it's white is because you're sanding the clear coat. All right, what color did you sand it? Okay, there you go. That's funny, guy. Okay, so now that we did all that and, you know, we busted our ass, we broke our back a few times, we got sore muscles in our arms, we actually went around the car and we did a good day's hard work, which everybody needs to do every fucking now and then, okay? Think about it. You guys are really getting me going here. I got to catch my breath on that. Really, really going. So now what you're looking at here, and if you look real close, you can see the swirls. Here comes the easy part. Because guess what I'm going to use? I'm going to use my short throw D.I.Y sander, and on the bottom of that short throw D.I.Y sander is a piece of 3,000 grit D.I.Y sandpaper. Now, of course, that's wet, okay? That is a wet sandpaper. I got one over here. I was going to throw in the trash because it's been used and abused. I want to show you that. All right, this is 3,000 grit. These cost anywhere from $4 to $7.50 a sheet, and depending on where you buy them. But that's 3,000 grit. You can see that right there. I went over this car vigorously, very quickly, because remember, I did my hard day's work. I busted my ass and I hand sanded it with 1500. I didn't use the D.I.Y's 1500 because that's a scam. You're going to use about 20 of these things to do the 1500 job. When you can use on a car like this, you can probably go ahead and use, I don't know, 4 sheets of 1500 at $1.25 a piece. Wow. I just saved you more money. How do you like that? So, now that we have sanded it, and we are done sanding it, and I want to stand back here. You can see it's got a lot of muck on it, but I want to show you when the sun hits that. Look at the sheen that that's got. Do you see that? You can already see a reflection in it. Do you see what the situation is here? A little hard work at the beginning. You're going to take a little bit of a break. All right, for me to D.I.Y sand this car with this right here took less than 30 minutes. 30 minutes. And it cost me $5. All right, $5. And you know what? I can actually take this pad and I can use it on another car. Because these things last up to at least 2 cars, 1.5. All right, best item in the world. I used to use 2,000, then 4,000. And then 3M came out with the 3,000, and I say, fuck it, that's what I'm using, that's what I got, I'm making it easy, okay? Let's look at these buffing pads real quick. I want y'all to take a good look at my paint table here. Guess what we don't see? That everybody else on YouTube shows you. Guess. Nobody can guess what you don't see on my table that every other YouTuber in YouTube land shows you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. You don't see an orbital buffer. We ain't got none of that scam shit, son of a bitch, bullshit, orbital sanding, orbital buffer crap. You don't need an orbital buffer. You don't need foam pads. You don't need special waxes and all this other, and cleaners and all this other shit. Because if you learn how to use one tool the proper way with one wax, guess what? All you gotta do is watch the bitch off, put the car together, and you're down the road and done. That's it. So by me just telling you that inside tech tip secret, I just saved you about $500 or $600 from buying an orbital buffer. An orbital buffer that the corporation wants to sell you because they're telling you you need it. You need that orbital buffer because if you don't have it, you're not going to do the right job. What do we got over here? We got some buffing pads. We got two different kinds. Did I tell you about the spur? Very important tool. All right, this is a very important tool. Buy one. They're about $8. I have two of them. This is a tool that cleans these pads. You need this tool if you want to buff the car the right way that I'm telling you to do it, because if you don't have one of these and you're using a screwdriver, you're screwing yourself in the ass with your screwdriver. And you don't even know it because the screwdriver is ripping your pad apart in pieces and it's making you flatten it down and deteriorate it. And then when you go to use your buffer, what happens? The buffer pad ain't working because you've ruined your buffing pad. $8 or $9, guy. Go get one. So by using this, I have made my pad last 3 times longer. If I use a screwdriver on that, I can buff one car with it and then I'm screwed. What do we got here? We got a foam pad. Very, very seldomly used over here at SWRC. And the only time we use that is if we're painting like a black or deep dark blue pearl. All right, that's it. I'm going to take this and look what I'm going to do with it. I'm putting it away. I don't want it because I don't need it. But what I do need is a brand new pad. And the reason I'm using a brand new pad on this because let me show you what a used one looks like. This is a used pad. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up if I can get it. Hang on. Let's go ahead and put the camera up on the tripod. How's that? Okay. Everybody see what's going on out there? How y'all doing today? Hopefully everybody's having a great day and they're not pissed off like my friend Pete, because I hate buffing. I hate to buff, but you know what? When you got to do what you got to do, you got to do what you got to do. I just turned my charger on because this is a long video, so we're going to need that. Let me get my picture in here, and then I'm going to be right back. Where are we at? There we are. Okay, it says, is the camera upside down? I got the camera backwards. Hold on a second. Okay. There we go. All right, I accidentally hit the button there. There we go, right there. I wanted to get this in the camera because I want to explain buffing pads to you. So what we're looking at here, how y'all doing? This is a used and abused buffing pad. A lot of people think if they clean them off with water, they can use them until there's nothing left. Bullshit. You can use this for about 4 cars, and then it's time to throw it right there in the fucking trash. It's a done deal. All right, this is what a good pad looks like. And I got 2 pads here, and I'm going to show you why I have 2 pads. So this is your white wool pad. This is the most common used pad that you would use to buff a car like we're going to do here. But if you run into a problem and the clear coat is very, very hard, there's a lot of clears out there that get super hard and they're real hard to sand. If you run into that problem, then you're going to want to get this pad right here. All right, this is a Super Duty. Now, the thing about this is a little bit softer. That means when the wool is softer, and I wish you were here. I don't even know if you could see that. They look the same, but they're not. But the softer wool one, you can put more force down on it, and you won't be afraid of burning through the clear. If you put a lot of force on with this one, that'll burn through the clear immediately. So you got to be real careful when using it. Now, the one that we're going to use today, we're going to use the white one. I'm going to put my blue one back. And then I got this bottle out here, and I want to show you this. This is called machine polish. Okay, that's what you would use with this right here. Now what this does, this removes all the swirl marks. You can actually go over it with this if you want to, but I'm going to tell you, this little son of a bitch right here is about $75. That's a $75 tool that you have to have for your buffer to make that pad work, so beware. One bottle of this can last you years, all right, because you don't use this, you use drops at a time. Okay, so we're going to put that away, we're not using that. Now, I went and bought a bottle of wax because most of you guys are going to be buying this by the quart. You're not going to buy gallons of it like I do. And this is the best stuff that you're going to buy. I don't give a shit what anybody says. You can go buy the McGuire's brand, and you can buy all these other, hokey pokey bullshit brands because, they pay millions of dollars in advertising and they're making you believe that their product's better than everybody else. Good old fashioned rubbing compound. This has been around for almost 100 years. I'm wondering why it's been around that long and why it still sells faster than they can bring it out of the machine to put it into this bottle. I'm really wondering why. Okay, this is rubbing compound. Perfect it. 3M. That's all you need. That's it. Let's get on to the buffing. I'm going to show you something over here. All I'm going to use is this, and I'm going to actually use it in this bottle because I buy it by the gallons, and then I just put it in here. And then I'm going to use my buffer, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is if you buffer the right way. Let me get all set up. I'm going to turn the camera around over on the car. We're going to take a good look at what's going on. All right, if my voice is lagging from the video, that's because when I turned the camera around, it flipped cameras, and in that split second, that's what it does. I'm sorry if it's lagging. Keep up with me or get the fuck out of here. One of the way, other the way, I don't give a shit. Let me see who this is. Hang on, I'll be right back. Somebody just pulled in. What's up, Leo? Okay, I'm on a live video here, so you can watch or whatever. Okay, we got Leo, the truck driver, just pulled up. Come on over here, Leo. Come on over here, live on DIY Auto School. What's up today, bud?
This is the Honda I brought from California.
This is the Honda you brought from California. We're getting ready to buff it up, Leo.
Looking good.
Okay, I'm showing everybody how to save a lot of money, that they don't need all this fancy shit to buff a car with.
I believe it.
Okay, so Leo, the truck driver's here. Let's get on with our little video. Anybody that doesn't know Leo, the truck driver, go back in my videos. You'll find out who it is. So what I got here is I got a good old-fashioned buffer. Now, this is a variable speed buffer. A lot of you have seen this video, my videos before. I've made videos of this before. And this is a good buffer. Now, I purchased this buffer, believe it or not, 35 years ago from Snap-on. This is a Black & Decker buffer. I have rebuilt this buffer probably 12 times in 30 years. All right, I actually got 3 of these things. I got backup units. But the situation is, it's a 7-inch sander / polisher. They call it a polisher. It's a buffer. It's got a variable speed trigger right here. And then it also has a speed right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set my speed right there at 1800. That's it. I'm going to leave it there the whole time. I'm going to go ahead and take my trigger, and that's where I'm going to get my variable speed right there. Okay? You got to learn how to hold your buffer. You got to learn how you listen to the buffer sound. You can tell when it's turning, if it's going too fast, this, that, and the other. Okay? Let me get my pad on there. I'm going to buff a little bit of this action here. We're going to see how it turns out. Hey, Leo. Now, one more thing that you got to purchase. Are we still on over here? Let me see. Okay, we're still live. Okay. One more thing you got to purchase to make all this work is this special adapter right here. You got to have that adapter. It's about $2.35. And that adapter turns your grinder. A lot of people would call this a grinder, and it's not. It would turn your polisher into a buffer, and that's what actually holds your pad onto the buffing machine. Watch real close when I pull that trigger. Let me get that cord. Okay, there we go. Okay, what? I'm gonna barely pull it, and you can see it's turning. But when I pull the trigger all the way down, I'm at 1800 RPM. Very important. You need to know how to use your variable speed trigger. Very important situation. Now, one thing that people screw up on is they tend to put too much wax on the car when they buff. They think that if they put more wax on there, it's going to help buff it, and it doesn't. What it does, it clogs up your pad, and it doesn't let you really buff the car. All you're doing is riding on top of that, and then eventually what happens by using too much wax, what's going to happen is the heat that you're creating from that wax getting hot on your pad and actually melting to the pad is going to start burning your paint. And then when you touch this edge right here, it's going to burn the paint off that edge and then eventually start melting and burning the paint on the car. So using too much wax is a no-no. So I'm going to take my wax, I'm going to shake it up. And hopefully this isn't clogged, but I want you to pay attention how much wax. When I buff a car, I cut it into sections. I visualize this as a 4-section hood. That means I'm going to buff this section right here. I'm going to make sure all that's done. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do this section right here and get that done. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get this front section here, and then that's done. And as I'm doing that, I'm overlapping my buff. All right, I'm going to buff this into that, and then when I do this, I'm going to buff that into that. I'm going to be very careful on the edges here. I don't want to hit those edges. Another thing is you got to watch the way the buffer turns. Buffers, when you're looking at the buffer and you're holding it, it's going to turn toward the right. The buffer is going to go that way. So what you want to do is on these edges, you always want to make sure that the buffer is riding off of the edge. Does that make sense, Leo?
Makes sense.
Because if you have the buffer and you're riding this edge right here, and you're down here buffing, that buffer's going to be hitting that edge and it's going to burn the paint off. So what you would do is you would come around this way with your buffer, and then now it's going this way, away from that edge. Do you see what I'm saying, Leo? Okay. Now, if you're right-handed and you're holding the buffer the other way, then you would do everything opposite from what I just said. So we're going to take our wax, and what you just saw right there, that is going to buff that section out. When I get done with it, it'll be a done deal. Always remember to wear face protection and also safety glasses when doing this. Pay close attention to how I use my variable speed trigger. Okay, what you just saw is the correct way to buff your car. That's it. We're done. All I got to do to that now, when I'm done with it, come on over here. Run the back of your hand on that. Tell me what it feels like, Leo.
That's smooth and beautiful.
Is it like slick ass? Is it like a piece of ice up in New Jersey on a hot winter day?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's look at the shine. Let's see how deep the shine is. Okay, let's check it out. Did everybody see that it only took me less than 30-40 seconds to buff that? That's it. Because I used my variable speed trigger, I used my rubbing compound, I used my 1500, and I used my 3000 wet DA, short throw DA sander paper, and we're done with it. Let's check it out. Unplug that. And I want everybody to look at that. Check that out right there. Look at the roof. Okay, you're looking at this right here. This is what you're looking at. You can see right there. All right, look at my hand. Okay, how you doing, guys? Do you see how nice and beautiful that came out? That finish will last forever. All right, that's it. We're done with that. All I got to do is wash it off, and we're done. We're not going to use any of this shit over here. We're not going to use this. Do you see what I'm saying? None of that's going to be used. We're not using this right here. All right, none of that crap's going to be used. That's how it is. That's the easiest way to do it. You're done with it. And the trick right here is how to control your buffer using your variable speed trigger while you got your, okay, look what I got that set on. Let me show you. 1800 RPM. All right. All right. You got to learn how to use the variable speed trigger, and you got to know how to buff that thing properly to save you money and not let the corporation sell you all these gimmick type tools and compounds and chemicals that you don't need. It's a done deal. And I got to say it, but we're done with this video as well. I'm going to go back on. I found an imperfection over here I need to color sand out and get rid of. But the overall finish of this thing is awesome. I like it. The owner's going to love it. And I painted this car 9 months ago, I believe. 8 months ago. And it's been sitting for 8 months, and I color sand and buff it. So that's another thing. You don't have to buff your car. You don't have to buff your car immediately. You can let it sit and come back and buff it. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, and we're over here with Leo, the truck driver. What's going on, bud? You hauling cars today?
No, we're off today. Let's get this done and get it back to California.
Let's get it to California. Guys waiting for it.
You know it.
All right, Leo, we'll see you later, bud. Okay, there you go, guys. I hope you learned something out of this little video. And the thing that you should have learned the most is you're saving a lot of money. Get yourself a buffer, not an orbital buffer, not an orbital polisher. Forget the word polisher, buffer. You need 1500, 3000, a bottle of rubbing compound, a buffer with a new pad. Bam, we're done. We're going home. It's a done deal, and everybody's fucking happy. We'll see you later. Time to turn that bitch off.